The National Convergence Stakeholder Workshop, presented by Ministry of FROMI, ended on a high note. The day started with FROMI's Secretary General, Mr. Kenson Plaisimont, opening the day with a warm welcome to all attendees, followed by tabletop discussions, innovative idea exchange, with close attention paid to all the environmental changes which may develop in the near future here on our island, and how to better prepare, taking a proactive approach. The room at the Government Administration Building consisted of various work groups: policy advisors, educators, community leaders, engineers, tourism industry experts, agriculturalists, solar specialists, project leaders and facilitators from abroad, and Sint Maarten.
Today marks a meaningful step forward in shaping how country Sint Maarten will prepare for and respond to growing realities on climate change. Materials circulated ahead of this workshop, because we had, for example, the climate atlas that was rolled out before. They clearly show that Sint Maarten is already experiencing higher temperatures, longer dry seasons, intensifying storms, and coastline erosion. These pressures are no longer an abstract projection. They are a measurable trend that affect our people, our communities, our economy, and our environment. Your efforts represent some of the most comprehensive climate-related studies ever undertaken on this country, Sint Maarten. They bring together data on climate trends, vulnerability assessments, coastal erosion, landslides, and biodiversity, and we are grateful to all of you for the expertise and dedication you deliver to this cause.
Actually,
as a small island developing state, our vulnerabilities are significant. Our population, our infrastructure are concentrated, and we are surrounded by the sea. Our energy system depends heavily on imported fossil fuels. Our food security is fragile, and our economy deeply tied to tourism, is highly vulnerable to impacts of heat, storms, beach erosion, and global shocks. These challenges highlight why coordination action is both urgent and necessary. The purpose of this workshop is not simply to discuss climate change, not only to have these discussions, but to clarify our strategic direction. It means that everyone in this room does have an input in where this country will go, how, and which priorities. So to validate our priorities, the risk, and collectively build implementation pathways that will anchor Sint Maarten's national adaptation strategy. And for that, I thank you again. So what we're going to do is we're going to examine, like Ms. Reitza indicated, examine projected climate scenarios, which we did until 2100, I believe, 2100. Review most affected sectors, and identify gaps and constraints in data, policy, enforcement, and financing. It goes without saying that our strategy must be rooted in our legal, spatial, economic, and environmental policies. But most importantly, it must also be actionable. This is why everybody's participation is so highly appreciated, and government cannot build this future alone. Adaptation requires the input, innovation, and commitment of all sectors, because climate resilience is not only about an environmental goal, but it is a development goal, it is an economical goal, and it's a social goal. I wish everyone a productive and insightful continuation of this workshop, because we're on day 2. I encourage you to remain open, practical, forward-looking, innovative, and ambitious. Share your expertise, challenge assumptions, and help ensure that the outputs of this workshop will steer the strategy, guiding us towards a prepared and more resilient Sint Maarten. And now I'm coming actually now to my most favorite part of this. In closing, I want to pause for a moment to acknowledge something important. I think it's very important to me, and I assume that it's only also very important to you. And that is, the people in this room today are those who, in my words, in many ways carry the planet at heart. you understand that the most valuable asset we have is the natural environment around us. I wrote this sentence twice, but slightly different. Because I think the people in this room, you understand that the most important asset we have is the natural environment around us. I assume that many of us in this room feel frustrated when others do not share the same urgency, the same passion, or sense of responsibility towards nature and climate action. But I want to reassure you, if it were not for dedicated individuals like you, our world, and certainly our island of St. Martin, would be far worse off. Your commitment matters, it is meaningful, and it is impactful. I encourage you to keep that spark lit, to continue inspiring others, and to remain united. Let us support each other and celebrate every single success moving forward. Whether it be big or small, we need to celebrate, because each contribution brings St. Martin closer to your and my dream.
I'm Kim van Nieuwaal, management team of the International Panel on Deltas and Coastal Areas. This was a wonderful workshop, and what I think we already saw here was that the NAS is not a piece of paper, it's about the people who will be drafting it and carrying it out in the next years. I've also seen it in the Netherlands. I was one of the lead authors 10 years ago, National Adaptation Strategy, and that network is actually still working. It's almost like a family. So what I hope that particularly VROMI team will be doing is gathering these people and the continuation thereof for the next couple of years in one way or another. I don't know how, but what I think you'll be seeing is that there's some sort of NAS family maybe, and I think that's a great thing what we saw happening here today, and I'm much looking forward to see the continuation thereof.
This workshop could not be more fulfilling. We had great representation across the community. I mean, it was small, but it was quality over quantity. And we really plan on continuing engagement with stakeholders, because this policy needs to reflect our community needs and be inclusive. Our climate is changing. There is going to be increased heat and heat stress on our people, especially the most vulnerable, like our elderly, our children. We're already seeing massive flooding, shorter periods of heavier rainfall, and massive superstorms in the region. And this is why we need to come together collectively to co-create this policy that truly reflects, our community and our needs. So we do plan on engaging stakeholders throughout this process from all different sectors. We're talking communities, community councils, sports, education, the private sector, and of course, interministerial public sector. So if you're watching this and you have any recommendations, if you want to be involved in the process, please let us know. We'd love to engage you.
And Canary is engaged as part of the development of the National Adaptation Strategy for St. Martin as a social engagement consultant. What that means is we are here to support the inclusive and participatory engagement of a range and broad diversity of stakeholders in developing the National Adaptation Strategy.
I am engaged on the National Adaptation Strategy as the lead technical expert. So I'll be working with Candice and her team on the social side. I'll be taking care of ensuring that there is that the strategy meets all of the technical requirements that are required for effective adaptation strategy over the next 10 years.
I think what we would want to see out of this process and how we would like to think of, success in the next 10 years and beyond is that we would have developed a national adaptation strategy for St. Martin that reflects the various perspectives and insights from a broad range of stakeholders, so not just the government, but non-state actors, including civil society, local communities, the private sector, academia, and that they are all playing a role, that there's this whole of society approach in terms of rolling out and implementing that strategy.
As we design the National Adaptation Strategy for accountability and transparency, which is really important to us as we've found out from the stakeholders here. We will be building in milestones for success across the next 10 years. We will be evaluating where we are step by step and gathering stakeholder feedback over that time to keep us on track with the goals and targets that we intend. I think one of the key lessons learned from the stakeholder engagement today is that there are no regrets actions that can be taken. There are some low-hanging fruit that we can work on for immediate results, but definitely there are a number of foundational pieces institutionally, strategically, operationally that we'll be working on step by step over the period of the strategy.
We managed to do very interesting workshops in the form of a climate fresque. So this is interactive, collaborative and hands-on exercise where everyone is dispatched between 3 groups and they are all working with cards to build a chain of events. And this is really to help them understand the vulnerabilities in Sint Maarten, what are the impacts, what is actually being put at risk, and then they all work together to think about what will be the top priority measures that will actually help Sint Maarten in their resilience. So this is quite good because if you look at this project, it aligns with the national adaptation plan of the country that is really working towards more resilience to climate change, and we can really see that as a full story, right? So this is not a project that is a start, but really in the middle of this story, and I can say compared with other countries, other projects, that it's really mature here. They have everything in place. Now it's really about having the right policies and the right enforcement. So I was quite happy to do this climate fresque exercise with everyone and with the help of VROMI.